He's the slick talking, jive walking, the one and only, your favorite morning host. It's Adam Josh. Mr. Adam Josh. Husband Adam Josh. Thank you. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Morning Banana Show, number 227. Today is September the 25th, 2025. And we've got a lot to get to. There's a lot been going on since my last Morning Banana Show, where I had announced that I was married and we got married, and I filmed the Morning Banana Show from the venue, which I can tell you now, if you want to check it out in person, you might have seen some of the photos and you might be interested in going there. The place is called Casa das Aguas Calmas. Casa das Aguas Calmas. House of the Calm Waters. And the owner there, Marcel, made a natural pond in the back, which is why it's called that. I have a mix of Tim Hortons from Canada that my cousin Becky from the Ottawa Valley brought me. And I have a mix of like local, it's a mix of that and local dark roast, and 2 bananas from Madeira. On the way down here, I fed a lizard some grapes that our friends from California gave me. The creamer that I'm using is just extra protein soy milk with added vanilla sugar. I started this banana yesterday, so we're gonna finish it today. How have you guys been doing? Leave comments in the chat as usual, comments under the video, like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. I know that the people who watch the Morning Banana Show are probably interested in my opinion on what's been going on since I got married. And some of you probably want to hear some juicy gossip, all the details. There are, a lot of things in the world that have been going on that I would like to kind of go over. But I want to be clear about something before I start chit-chatting about the world news. I'm not a news anchor. This isn't, I don't think people who watch the show, morning show, have any illusions, but I'm not a social commentator. I didn't go to school to study, world events. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a guy with some bananas. That out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. I got a lot of love in my heart, and I have a lot of things that go on in my brain, and I like to process it clearly in a way that you can see. I've done both. I've processed my emotions in song format, poems, morning banana shows. So we're here together. This is not just for you, it's also for my mental health, I have trouble making sense of the world sometimes, to be honest. I still don't have the photos from the wedding. I guess we can start there. I have a few sample photos from the photographer, but he told us that he would take a while, so we're not pressuring him. So whatever photos are online, are the photos that I have to share, and people who showed up took photos. There might be a video coming from my next generation cousin, Haley. This Tim Hortons kind of makes me miss Canada a little bit. The pandemic was crazy, right? Can we be honest? The pandemic was crazy. Between that and a few other things that happened while we were in Canada, we felt like now's a great time to leave. We're very blessed and very fortunate that we were financially able to travel. If you want to pre-order my investment strategy book, you can. I'm going to start trying to finish it soon. That is on my list of things to do. And by the end of the video, you'll understand what priority it's in. These are Heavenly Hunks from Costco. They're vegan. It's like granola squares. Yeah, on the point of me not being a news anchor or journalist or whatever, when I recorded my last Morning Banana show at Casa das Aguas Calmas, and I said, I don't know what's going on in the world right now, but
So,
it is September 10th.
Don't ask me what's going on in the world, because I haven't really been paying attention, but tomorrow, I guess, is...
I'm not sure that I was even
September
aware
11th,
about
so
the Charlie Kirk shooting.
there's that.
And so I had my own things going on. And I apologize if that seems insensitive, but I was getting married. So my head was not in the game of world news. And again, I'm not a journalist and I'm not a news anchor. So I'm more focused on like my own life and the life of my family and my friends. So all that being said, if you follow me on X, you might see me floating some conspiracy theories, and I like to question things, and I feel like there's a lot of room for questioning the events that happened with Charlie Kirk, not least of which is the multiple shooters, the George Zinn thing, and his follow-up, getting arrested and then having CZAM material on his hard drive or on his phone or whatever. We could go over all the crazy points. And I'm glad that I'm not alone. I'm glad that there are other people who are covering this, so I don't need to feel like the weight is on my shoulders to spread the truth or just have people question things. But the whole story is very fishy, and there was a movie called Snake Eyes where like the whole plot of the pew pew action that happened was laid out in the movie Snake Eyes with Nick Cage on September 10th, and the plot was that some gentleman named Charles Kirkland got pew pewed. Needless to say, I feel sorry for his family and his friends and followers, and I feel like the result will be some type of revival. I think that if you're a real fan, or if you really care about Charlie Kirk, you'd want to know what really happened and not just gloss over it. So it hurts, it might be painful, but I feel like getting to the bottom and not accepting mainstream FBI narratives when the same mainstream FBI right now is gaslighting the public about the Epstein files. In other news, I was encouraged to see that Italy's Navy is sending a battleship to help protect the new Freedom Flotilla coalition that is a few days away, last I checked, from arriving in Gaza with aid. As predicted, the IDF is already messing with a few of the ships. I think one has been bombed and is out of commission. They're hearing Swedish radio and ABBA through their speakers that are being jammed. You can follow this all online yourself. Follow the different people that are on the ships who are trying to keep in communication with people. And my whole take on that whole situation, the Freedom Flotilla is not trying to go to Israel, just so we're all clear. They're trying to go to Gaza. But for some reason, this whole other country, Israel, is interfering and stopping and attacking these ships in international waters. A great travesty, a great humanitarian crisis. And now UN itself has recognized that what is happening between the IDF and Gaza is considered a genocide. So it took them a while to catch up to your boy. If you watch my Morning Banana shows, you'd see I was calling it. It is what it is, despite our feelings about it. And I've been encouraged as well by the various countries in the world that have recognized the state of Palestine. And I know that probably bothers Netanyahu and the regime that's running the country of Israel currently, or the state of Israel. And he is lashing out by saying, the Israelis are not going to travel to the countries that recognize the state of Palestine. We're going to close up our embassies in the countries of the places that recognize Palestine. And, it's just a bunch of sour grapes and poopy diapers. And it really shows the crux of the issue and the way that the Benjamin Netanyahu regime runs things. By threats, by coercion, by blackmail, by strong arming, and it's kind of like a mafia. And when you add in the religious twist, it's probably the worst possible form of government that you could ever imagine, because a theocracy under a benevolent dictatorship or a theocracy under a benevolent god is one thing, but a theocracy under a megalomaniac or a theocracy under a guy like Benjamin Netanyahu is objectively like a war criminal, right? Wanted by the ICC. It's not even like, I'm not even saying things that aren't factually true. That's a lot different than being in a theocracy where there's a benevolent dictator. In other news, like I said, I'm being honest with you guys. I've been encouraged by Canada recognizing the state of Palestine, and I'm not carrying water for Mark Carney or anything like that, but I don't think that Mark Carney is making all the decisions on behalf of the crown property of Canada. So it's not a coincidence that all the Commonwealth countries are voting basically the same on this issue, because let's turn the clocks back a lot and just inform you that Canada is owned by the royal family and they're not selling the property to Canadians. Same with Australia, owned by the royal family. And you guys can say whatever you want and argue with me in the comments, but in the end, I'm right. War is a crazy thing. Nobody likes war and bloodshed, but people forget that these lands were conquered by soldiers and war and bloodshed, and nobody, after all that bloodshed and war, just says, you know what? I've changed my mind. You can live here for free. Let's all forget about it. No, conquered lands are conquered. I'm sitting in Portugal. Portugal conquered many places. Brazil is one of them, which is why the Brazilians to this day speak Portuguese. You may not know that. Cabo Verde, another example, and other African places that are run and were colonized by Portugal. France is another one. In the Congo and places in Africa, they speak French. The reason they speak French is because they were conquered by France. And the British royal family was no different. People were conquering before you were born. And they didn't conquer for fun. They conquered to extract the resources, both human and mineral, and own the lands and tax the people that live there. That's the whole point. If I went to France and I have seen things that have changed my life. I have seen Egyptian artifacts standing in Paris. Nobody's debating that this stuff is from Egypt. Objectively, it's stolen property. And here we are in 2025. We think we're so moral. We have the internet. The world is connected more than ever. So we're asking the questions, shouldn't they return it? Shouldn't Emmanuel Macron do the right thing and return all these stolen artifacts back to Egypt? That's my mentality coming from Canada. Just the reality, boots on the ground, is just the answer is no. Nobody's returning that crap. I want to change the subject. We've been growing butternut squash here like crazy. I have like 20 butternut squash picked, maybe another 10 or 15 on the vine. Tomatoes have been growing. My bananas have not been doing that great. There have been wildfires in Portugal on the west coast near Sagres, and specifically, if you follow me, I've been to a lot of these places that are currently being put out. Helicopters and choppers have been going back and forth over my head, picking up water from various aquifers, rivers, and if all else fails, the ocean, and putting out fires. I've driven around Portugal, and a lot of it is like a tinderbox. And the problem is, it doesn't rain until the rainy season, which is like Christmas. It rains until March, and then it stops. So back until you have to wait until Christmas time for more rain. And when it rains, contrary to public opinion, it doesn't rain nonstop here like a monsoon. It's just kind of like it rains a bit. The other day it rained for 10 seconds. Morocco, they do geoengineering. There's lots of geoengineering programs going on around here, but not when you need them. Ironic that, because these forest fires could very easily be put out by some geoengineered rain. And isn't it ironic that since 2006 I've been watching chemtrails in the sky, and here I am in 2025 saying, you know, geoengineering could solve this. Cloud seeding is a real thing, and various countries of the world engage in cloud seeding. I've covered it ad nauseum. I'm not trying to prove anything anymore. The world has finally caught up with me. We're past the Overton window on that one. I gotta say, that last sip of coffee really slapped. Little mix going on here of Tim Hortons and local stuff. I have done drugs in my life, and that last sip was comparable. Yeah, so I feel blessed that we have this farm. You know, we own it outright, and the taxes on it are super affordable because we are on farmland, and we're farming on farmland. We're using the property for its intended purpose. But Canada has surprised me with its stance on recognizing the state of Palestine. So I got to be honest, I had feelings about not ever going back to Canada if I could avoid it. But now I'm thinking, and I've been talking to the fam, the four of the fam. You guys, you want to go back to Canada? You want to head back? So we'll see what happens. I don't make decisions just based on, you know, what I want. I have a family of, you know, my 2 adopted kids and Desiree, my wife now, and we want to try to bring another child into the world. And also I think of, where does this child want to be incarnated? That's kind of where my head is at as a master manifester. So Operation Church Fart, which you might have heard about, was about the silent escape and winding up, leaving Canada and winding up in Europe. We did that. It was complicated, but we did it. Operation Word Wall was about basically setting up a event center and getting married, inviting all our friends and family to come see what we were up to in Europe. We did that. I've had many events here. We've made money from this farm. I have no ill feelings or bad vibes about our farm. We're fortunate to be in an area of the Algarve that is like a microclimate and well protected from firefighters, and the type of area that they would prioritize not burning, or unless it was some weird satanic thing. But like the West Coast, where there's nobody, the forest where there's nobody. I mean, that's what's burning right now in different parts of Portugal, but usually it stays away from the main areas like the city. And I'm like 15 minutes away from an international airport, so they'd have bigger problems if there was a forest fire around here. Plus, there's gas stations around here. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta prioritize where you have your forest fires. But yeah, when I drive through Portugal, I think, man, I used to be a pyromaniac in some era of my life, and this place is just ready to burn, some of it. But saying that, everything is green, but the drought aspect of it not raining, not that the plants are dead, but the drought aspect of the fact that it's not raining really does make the place a tinderbox, and that is unfortunate. Anyway, so there's lots of places in the world that we could go. I was saying to the boys, you know, Scotland, Ireland, Australia, places that we could go for the next while. I think about our kids' education, how Caden wants to go into banking, and how Tyler wants to go into making pizza. And for me, it was a pretty logical choice that, hey, if we're in Europe, Tyler can go learn how to make pizza in Italy. And that is still where my heart is at. And we pursued some of that. And I was at the point where I was willing to pay for Tyler to go to Italy once a year to take lessons on making pizza in Italy. And here we are. He's not taking me up on the offer, and I think Desiree doesn't want to go if I don't go. And at that point, somebody's got to stay here. So there's times that we could all go. It just hasn't worked out yet. But anyway, if you're watching and you're wondering, like, hey, what would Adam do with the farm? I still have stuff in Canada. I have stuff in Germany. I have a vehicle in Canada. We have 2 vehicles here. And I think, you know, I'm open to people, you know, pitching me ideas about our property here. We were thinking, there was a lady that helped us with the wedding that she lives in a van, and we were thinking maybe we would offer her the property to stay on. But we don't have to sell the property, thankfully. We're not in an immediate financial crisis that we have to sell the property. And if that day comes, I would tell you, hey, we're selling the property. Maybe you would be interested in it. You could let me know. In other news, I saved a bird the other day. We were in Lulé at a veg fest. They called it fava.pt, the Vegan and Sustainability Festival. It was like 2 different tiers of, or levels of awesomeness for 3 days straight. We talked to the organizers, and it was just off the rails, hands down, the best vegan festival that I have ever been to, ever, anywhere. And that's saying something. We talked to so many different people there. We hung out with the vendors. We knew a lot of the vendors. And what else? Yeah, I ate a lot of food. We spent some money. And while we were going there, yeah, we saw a pigeon on the ground. We didn't know at the time, but it had like thin fishing line wrapped around its legs. So it looked like it was just, it just lost its yellow, or was just losing its yellow feathers, like the baby feathers. And it looked like it was struggling to fly. It was really windy the night before, and I thought maybe the wind knocked it out of the nest. But regardless, it wasn't flying anywhere, and what it was doing was really dangerous. It was walking into the road. There's dogs, there's wild dogs, wild cats. The locals told us that the garbage men would come by the next day and probably just throw it out, because that's how they feel about pigeons here. We talked to animal rescue organizations, and they said to us that because it's a pigeon, it's not as high priority as like a blue jay or an eagle. I'm not going to name drop, but they gave us some advice. Like, we're not going to help you, but here's some advice. We took the advice. We went and got food. We gave it about an hour for its, or 2 hours. Actually, we were there for 4 hours, but we gave it a solid hour of just watching to see if the mom would come back. The mom didn't come back. So we took matters into our own hands and nursed it back to health. And it took all of 24, 48 hours, and it was flying around our farm. It came back to visit once, and then we haven't seen it since. So Penny, wherever you are, we love you, and we're happy we could help. Had that plastic stuff around its feet, and it really, really came to life after that. after a good night's sleep and a lot of food. So I feel good about saving that. Love Farm Stay did not intend to be an animal rescue. Nevertheless, we rescued an animal. Got a Made Good bar again here. Made Good. This is brought to me from friends in Canada that smuggled these items on a plane for me because I asked for it. We also had Desiree's parents pack a whole suitcase full of deli meats from Germany. Vegan deli meats. I mean, that's the type of people we are. What you see is what you get. We love vegan food. We love each other. Got a whole lot of love in our hearts. And we're just trying to be the best people we can be and help other people. It's not that complicated. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee, /buy me a coffee, adamjosh.com. I don't know what's going on here, but I can see a major difference in this caffeine consumption right now. I'm like, I am lit. Maybe even the flies want it. Maybe I'm not used to that caffeine from Canada. Maybe it's just hitting different. I haven't really been drinking the Tim Hortons. I thought Becky wanted it and then she left it here, so whatever. She got a tattoo of Portugal. People who you would think would never have traveled, we were able to get them to travel. We brought a lot of people to Europe to expand their minds and show them intentional love, intentional weddings, and what intentional love could look like. I've been with Desiree for a really long time and I really do love her, and I'm looking forward to the next chapters of our lives. And we're just asking ourselves the questions right now, as a family should. What do we want to do as a family in the next few years, and what direction do we want to move in? And I started these questions and talking to my family like that in Canada, which is what got us here, because it turned out that none of us liked snow. So you can imagine that I'm not too excited about going back to snow, but there are ways around it. You can send me an e-transfer to adam@adamjosh.com, a wedding gift to ido@adamjosh.com. You can buy a t-shirt from the merch section. I have lots of little items there that you could afford, and some maybe that you think are too expensive, maybe, I don't know. But there's gummies and there's a bookmark and things like that. Support the channel, like and subscribe, share. Thank you for watching the Morning Banana Show. I hope you're all caught up on the life and times of Adam Josh. Leave a comment in the chat below. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. We had 2 bananas and a coffee. Bye-bye. Are you tired of reincarnating? Me too. Now show the world that you don't want to reincarnate with this Do Not Reincarnate t-shirt.